Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amy and I make videos on astrology. I have a first house Ketu and yeah, if you're new here, please subscribe, like this video if you find anything that I say resonates with you. Today's video is going to be about the things that people experience when they have a Rahu in Pisces. So I personally have a Rahu in Pisces, and this is a video that somebody requested that I make. I'm making it with the best of my knowledge. I'm not an astrologer, I've said that in other videos, but because I have this placement, I feel like I understand it from the inside out. But given that this is a Rahu placement, as with any other Rahu placement, you should know that it's quite hard actually for the native themselves to really understand how to grasp and perfect the Rahu placement, right? Wherever Rahu is sitting is not very easy for the native to understand. But because I have done plenty of research, I also understand what I go through with this placement. There are a few things that I have realized which are very much true in my personal life, and I hope that you can also relate to some of what I say if you have Rahu in Pisces. So without further ado, if you resonate with anything that I say, please like, subscribe, and share this video with other people in your life who might want to understand your Rahu in Pisces a little bit better. So Rahu in Pisces is quite a challenge to master for the kind of people who have Ketu in Virgo, because Ketu and Virgo are the type of people for whom everything is systematic. They're very analytical and very practical. So Rahu in Pisces is a direct opposition to those traits. They have their entire life's to-dos ready in front of them, and they're just very discerning about getting things done a certain way, a very perfectionistic streak. So they stay on top of, most of the physical realm, the earthly realm, whereas Rahu in Pisces almost calls them towards something that is otherworldly. So if you have a Rahu in Pisces, you have, aside from that very discerning eye, which is something that Virgo gives you, you actually also have this other side to you, the one that has a unquenchable urge and fascination with something beyond this material world. You're looking for something greater beyond the mundane layer to everyday life. And that is what the Rahu in Pisces is bringing to your personality and life. So that's what this video is going to be about. I'm going to talk about the 10 things that you will experience when you have a Rahu in Pisces. So point number 1, you have a real desire to deep dive into spiritual subjects and things that have to do with the collective consciousness, the human nature and connection between all of us, the things that really make us all united as a species on this planet. And not just human connection, but connection with nature, connection with plants and animals, and a grand way to look at the connections between everything. So you might be interested in the cosmos, and you really start to get interested in subjects that have to do with human life and our purpose on this planet, and human consciousness. So these kinds of subjects might interest you if you have a Rahu in Pisces. You'll want to contemplate all of this, right? So usually you do this on your own. You don't really share it very openly with other people. It's something that interests you and it intrigues you, but it is kind of like the side of you that you don't really want to show people. Even though you have a dreamy nature, the others might notice that you have that, right? They might notice that you tend to get lost into the things that you're looking at and the things that you're studying, right? The Rahu in Pisces can have very dreamy way of approaching these subjects or creativity. So, you're really drawn in this life to experience what it's like to be one with everything. Not to separate yourself so much from everything else. So Virgo is very discerning, right? It's able to categorize everything into little tiny pieces and label everything and organize everything. But Pisces is really trying to make you see that, you got to get over all these very minute discriminations that you make in order to help understand something, right? So Virgo tries to understand by dissecting everything, but Pisces understands everything by combining it all together and really making a meaning out of it that is beyond all those superficial differences. So in this lifetime with a Rahu in Pisces, you're really seeking out these different kinds of experiences. They might be like mystical experiences, for example. Maybe you start getting interested in some kind of, meditative experiences, the kinds of experiences that help you feel united with the larger side of life. That makes you feel united with the rest of humanity, for example. This placement also gives you a very unique imagination and the ability to envision ideas for the entire collective. So the way I see it is like Aquarius is that social group and the larger collective, right? But then Pisces takes it like beyond it. It takes it to the spiritual realm. And so for that reason, I feel like with this Rahu in Pisces, you might be attracted to those spiritual subjects in order to understand who we are at a soul level, at a higher level, trying to look beyond the superficialities of what makes someone who they are, but you try to see it in a grander way. And of course, you're not going to be good at this, but this is something that you're striving for, something that you're yearning for. So in this life, Rahu is trying to pull you towards that view of life, which might be missing from your day-to-day Virgoan ways. Point number 2 is that you might actually feel as though you want to teach other people about these subjects as you learn them. So this is pretty much what I'm doing right now. The more I learn, the more it fascinates me, the more I want to teach other people. And even if I can't do it in a teacher capacity, it's more just about being able to share what I'm learning with other people. And I think this is because of the influence of Jupiter. So Jupiter rules Pisces, and having the Rahu in Pisces means that you may want to become some kind of a teacher. Not in the sense that you go in a school and you teach it, but you may feel like you want to preach a little bit about your understandings because they're newfound. You feel like these are the things that really matter, and because they've evaded you for so much of your life, when you start learning about them and you start to see the suffering in the world, you almost want to start sharing this message out to people so that people can feel more united and feel more empathetic towards one another. So I think the Rahu in Pisces is giving that attraction to Jupiterian qualities that come with this. So you may want to guide others. You may want to share your wisdom and share the philosophy that you think makes the most sense in this position. So point number 3 is that you may like traveling, or you might naturally find that you are put in situations where you do end up traveling a lot. So I think this is because Pisces has that other worldly side to it. So it's, in a natal chart, when you have positions like planetary positions in the 12th house, usually astrologers will tell you that that's a yoga for traveling abroad, because it takes you away from what is familiar to you, and it takes you very far away where you feel a little bit isolated and you feel a little bit out of your familiar space, right? It's kind of putting you in a very exiled kind of situation where people around you will not understand the same things the way that you understand them. Maybe the languages are different, maybe their customs are different, right? So you almost become like the only one that has your own viewpoint in that situation. And you almost have to have that empathy for the people around you so that you can merge with them. So I feel like the Rahu in Pisces is going to bring situations into your life where you do need to see different ways of living and different ways of thinking, and start to really find yourself in those foreign type situations a lot more. So because Jupiter rules the ninth house and it rules Pisces, which is the 12th house, I think there's a likelihood of travel and an understanding about different cultures that comes with this placement. So point number 4 is that you might be drawn to doing service for the benefit of humanity. So because you have a Ketu in Virgo, you will bring your Virgo qualities to provide service to the larger group of people in society, right? So what you might try to do is to use wherever your Jupiter is placed in your chart. You might be drawn to giving service through that Jupiterian way. So for example, I have Jupiter in Aquarius, and Aquarius has to do with technology and innovation and invention and things like that, right? It's really thinking outside the box. It's very unconventional. It's eccentric. So the way in which I apply my Virgo nature, because of my Ketu in Virgo, I apply it in a very Aquarian Jupiter way. Now, how that relates to my Pisces is that I actually have I have the kind of job that allows me to be very imaginative. So I'm a creative person, and what I do is I use my creativity, which is my Piscean side, and I use my Virgo side, which is very discerning, very perfectionistic, and I apply that to an Aquarian side, which is has to do with technology. So I work in the tech industry. I'm a designer, which is using my creative side, and I design software, which is meant to help people use things better, with more effectiveness and things like that, right? So this is how I kind of combine the three sides of my Virgo Ketu, my Jupiter in Aquarius, and my Rahu in Pisces. So maybe you can do the same thing for your chart and see what the connection is there. So point number 5 is that a Virgo and Pisces person needs to develop faith. They need to be okay with things when they go wrong, when they don't go to plan. Because Virgo is very methodical and they like to plan everything out. They don't only have plan A, they have plan B, and with the possibility that if plan B doesn't work, then there's a mini plan C. It's like everything is really thought out. And then if anything goes wrong, a Virgo Ketu person will become very anxious. And the Rahu in Pisces is really trying to teach the person to have faith, that everything will work out, you know? It's like, it's teaching the person to go with the flow. So I think what happens is that it keeps giving this Ketu Virgo person these ups and downs all the time. And this person has to learn how to just go with the flow and be happy and not be affected so much uh, by needing to control everything in their life. The Pisces person is very good at being one with everything, right? So if things don't go their way, that's okay for a Pisces person. They keep adapting, they keep going with the flow of the situation. So nothing is ever against a Pisces person, right? Um, if the situation changes, the Pisces person is changing with it, right? So a Virgo really needs to learn that, to not be so oppositional, where it's like my plan and then what's happening in the world. The Virgo is really learning to, let go a little bit. When you take somebody who has a good Pisces um, in their chart, like for example, my mom has a moon in Pisces, and it's such a great example for me to see that, because she has so much faith in life, and anytime something goes wrong, she's just like, it's okay, we'll work out. And she doesn't really ever lose her cool. She's very easygoing and always sees kind of the benefit of the doubt. So even when other people do things that clearly to me they look like, oh, that person did something intentionally in the wrong way, my mom doesn't see it that way. Instead, she doesn't even see that she's been wronged in that situation. Ketu Virgo person needs to reduce their anxiety in the situation whenever things don't go their way, because they will see exactly what went wrong, and they will kind of point it out as well, or they will be harsh or critical towards that situation or the people. Whereas a Pisces person just understands what happened and why it happened, and they don't even really get offended. They're just very like um, easygoing, right? In that nature, they're never annoyed, never critical, never irritated. They won't even tell the person that, somebody did something wrong. They'll never complain. So I think the Rahu in Pisces person is like being uh, driven into situations where they really have to learn those qualities of reducing their own anxiety and not letting little things bother them. One of the things I always notice about my mom is that she always laughs at every situation in life. Even when there's an argument happening, she will just kind of like laugh it off and kind of change the subject to something completely different and try to get everybody to just kind of forget about their worries and forget about all this nonsense, just forget about the arguments. That's her nature because she has a moon in Pisces. But for Ketu Virgo, they want like the person who has done something wrong accountable. They want that person to improve. So they might actually call out those arguments a little bit more. They want to make sure that whatever went wrong is talked about so that the responsible parties can take the responsibility and change that outcome next time. Whereas Pisces doesn't see it that way at all. They just forgive others without the people even ever apologizing. So I think a Rahu in Pisces is learning these things in this life. They're trying to balance their critical nature. So developing empathy is a big part of Rahu in Pisces, so that the Virgo nature isn't so critical all the time. It's actually a lot more empathetic. That's what I think the life lesson is for the Rahu in Pisces, is to be more forgiving, be more understanding, all those kinds of things. Another interesting thing, so point number 7, is that a Ketu and Virgo person is so mentally active, right? They're very it's like overactive. Their analytical mind is constantly just playing through every scenario and thinking everything through to the point where it's too much. So for me, when I'm even like sleeping in bed at night, I've already thought through all the things I need to do the next day, and I'm thinking through all the things I did today, what went well, what didn't go well, what I need to improve. It's like a very overactive mind, right? It's always just chatting to itself, um, in order to be like very optimized. The person is trying to treat itself like a machine, right? It's always trying to get the most efficient way of getting things done, and always thinking about what it did wrong and trying to improve it, right? That's a Ketu and Virgo person. It's gotten too much at that point. So one is so methodical and completely reliant on their mental faculties that in this life, Rahu in Pisces is really trying to teach this person to have a different type of intelligence, right? Um, it's like the Virgo Ketu person doesn't really listen to their own feelings, or doesn't really listen to their gut feelings about things, right? Or their intuition, but they actually have a very high intuition because of that Rahu in Pisces. Um, it's really hard to figure out, like, can you trust your intuition? Can you trust your feelings? You know, if you have a gut instinct about something, can you trust it? The Rahu in Pisces person is gonna kind of know that they feel it very strongly, especially in the later years in life. I think in the earlier years in life, they might never listen to their feelings and never listen to their intuition. They're almost afraid of their feelings and afraid of their intuition. But I think as your life progresses, as you open yourself up to the Rahu in Pisces, you will find that a lot of the great ideas that you have, a lot of the right decisions that you need to make, need to consider your feelings about things, right? So when Rahu is in Pisces, it's really trying to shake up that tendency of Virgo to go uh, go into that different side of intelligence. So actually what it's called is like emotional intelligence, being able to kind of feel and suss out a situation with your gut feelings, with the intuition that kind of speaks to you, and being able to trust it. So Virgo and Gemini tend to like over intellectualize everything, right? Um, Whereas like a Pisces actually just is in the moment and doesn't take whatever is happening into like the mental space. In fact, it just interacts with everything in the moment without thinking about it before interacting with it. So what the Rahu in Pisces is teaching an individual is to be in the moment, and just accept things the way they are, as opposed to trying to like think them through. So point number 8 is actually that because Virgo is so used to like emphasizing how things are different from one another and categorizing them and really being very discerning, it actually can't. It's almost so focused on the minute details, that it's not looking at everything from a grander perspective. And that's what the Rahu in Pisces is really trying to get the person to do, is like not to use their logic all the time and kind of dissect everything into smithereens. It actually is urging the person to kind of not be so focused on the minor details. A Virgo can believe like the small parts kind of make up the one big part, the one big picture. But in fact, from the Pisces' perspective, The bigger picture is actually more than just the sum of its parts. It's like on its own, it's something else. So the Ketu Virgo person is actually needing to, see the forest instead of just the trees individually, if that analogy makes sense. So point number 9 is that the Virgo person needs to open up to the concepts that the truth of things is not always when they're discernible or when they can apply their logic to it, or they can measure something, but it's actually beyond all of that. It's you know truth can be found in things that are not perceivable, things that are not logical, things that are um, you know immeasurable or undetectable. They can be truth can be more subjective and more universal, and be beyond logic, for example. So the Rahu in Pisces person is almost connecting with the essence of life a lot more, beyond just the practical things. That's what the Rahu in Pisces is starting to do in this lifetime. And one of the things that I have noticed, and this is going to be point number 10, is that the Virgo Ketu person is going to notice that their life never goes to plan. So the Virgo and Pisces, Virgo Ketu person is going to notice that, they have like their entire life planned out and nothing goes that way. And it really irritates the Ketu and Virgo person because, they have the mental capacity to plan everything out. They have everything, figured out. They just need everybody else like to follow through and for the life to work out in a certain order. But the Rahu in Pisces is probably going to make sure that doesn't happen, because the Virgo person needs to learn, how to be more balanced. Learning how to relax is like a huge thing for Ketu and Virgo person. This life is about learning to relax, learning to let go, be okay with everything the way it is. Learn to like things the way they are. Learn to be, to know that everything is perfect just as it is. It doesn't need to be perfected by the Virgo. Pisces just understands how to be, right? So the Rahu in Pisces is gonna try very hard to give the Virgo in Ketu person scenarios where they have to deal with things that are not good, things that are not perfect, and by dealing with these situations, they're gonna learn to just be okay with things the way they are. You can't really control everything. So in this lifetime, the bohemian kind of lifestyle is something that might be alluring to the Rahu in Pisces person. They actually need to detach. They need to take a break. They need to learn how to be spontaneous and just follow their instincts, go with what you feel like doing. Go with what people around you want to do. Be more unstructured. Be more easygoing, and just learn to be one with your environment and see how that changes your life. Now, if you have Rahu and Pisces in different areas of your chart, that will apply to the different areas of your life. Me in particular, myself, I have the Rahu in Pisces in my 7th house. So it's really something that I have to learn to practice in my partnerships, to not be as critical, be more, easygoing, be more flexible, and not have too many expectations around what I want and how I want it. So one example is once I was out with my partner, And, I'm very particular about the kind of fruit I pick up, or the kind of, I think we were trying to pick up garlic or limes or something. I don't remember. It was a few years ago. And I always pick it based on a certain criteria, when I go to the store. But when my partner comes with me, he was very like easygoing about things, right? So he'll just pick up whatever kind of catches his eye. But if I come around and I'm like, oh, why did you pick up this one? This one is much better. It just shows that like Virgo puts their, mercurial nature on everything. They just need to let that go. So that concludes my Rahu in Pisces video. If anything resonated with you, please leave it in the comments. Tell me about how you see your Rahu in Pisces, because maybe it's a little bit different. I'm not sure. Anyways, that's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for subscribing and liking this video and sharing it with your friends. And I will see you in the next video. If you have more ideas for what I should make a video about, please also comment down below. Yeah, thank you. Have a great day, guys. Bye.